Yeah, hello there and welcome back, and let us continue over here. And the next step, what we want to do is we want to continue with the Firebase cloud messaging, and we will try to integrate into our application. So let's go over here, and I'll be adding this link to the course description so you can take it from there. First, we will add some of the dependencies. So first of all will be this Firebase messaging, and you can go to the pub.dev and get the Firebase messaging dependency. So just go to the install from here and copy this particular dependency and just paste in over here. And another one we'll need a Flutter local notification. So let's go and add that particular to another dependency over here. So search for the Flutter local notification, and with the recent update I see they have changed some of the way how we can use this particular package. So let's go to the installation and just copy this one and just paste it over here and just run fpub pub-get, and it will download all of these dependencies. So once we are done with the dependency, let's go to the over here, and I will go to this particular core folder, and in the Firebase let's add a new folder, and let's call this one as a notification. And inside this notification, let's create a new file. We'll call this one as Firebase messaging provider .file. And here we'll create a provider that we will be providing a Firebase Firebase messaging, and let's import this particular Flutter Riverpod, and from here we will return the type is the Firebase and should be of the message. So Firebase messaging, and from here we will return the instance of this particular messaging. So I guess the spelling here is not correct, so let me try to replace this one with the Firebase messaging. So once we have this dependency, let's create a new class, and let's call this one as a Firebase. So let's call it Firebase Firebase push noti Firebase push notification .file, and here we'll create the class of the Firebase push notification, right? Firebase push notification. So Firebase push notification, and here we'll take the we'll take the parameter of the Firebase messaging, right? And let's call this one as a message, and over here we'll create a constructor for this one. So let's go and create the constructor, and within this constructor let me create the okay, so I guess let me make it as okay, so let's create a function below first of all here. So void, and it should be of the, let's make it as a private one init, and it should be of a asynchronous type. And here we'll try to go and initialize our this particular Firebase push notification. So from here let's just call this particular init function from here, and that should fix that particular error. Okay, so we got this functionality, and let's go back to the this particular documentation, and currently we are over here. So currently we are not on the Flutter embedding version 2, so we are on the version 2, so I guess we don't have to do all of this stuff. Second is, let's go to the usage over here, and then once we have this particular dependency that we have already created, if you go over provider here, and let's add that to over here. So if I go over here, if I want to provide PROVR, let's create a provider for this one, and let me add this as the Firebase push notification provider, and let's add this one, and let's return from here this particular class, and always here, and from here I need to get that particular dependency. So final, I need this particular messaging, right? So just pasting over here and here, which is equals to ref.the-watch. I need to watch that the Firebase Firebase messaging provider. So that is the one that we need, and after that we are good to go with the initialization over here. Next is we need to receive a receiving a message, and for the iOS we will need a different setup. So currently we will focus on the Android side first of all. So if you need to know about how to handle the notification on the foreground, background, and on the terminated state, so this is the 3 state that we can actually use to handle the notification. So when the foreground is when the application is on the view, so which means user can interact with the application. Background means that your application is on the background, which means a user may have pressed the home screen, or he may have launched another application, so your application is on the background. Terminated state means that your application may be terminated by swiping it out or going to the like in the Android you can go to the setting and force the application to quit. So that means the application is on the terminated state. So you can just go and read the documentation over here. I'm not going to read all of those stuff. And next is we need to request the permission on the iOS side. Your iOS, Mac, and the web require permission from the user in order to receive the notification. So you can actually grab this particular code from here, and let's go inside this init function and just paste it over here. So just paste it over here, and here this is an alert, and this is requesting permission for the alert, announcement, batch, CarPlay, and critical alert, provisional, and the sound. So means that when you are requesting the notification permission, you are requesting this particular permission. So if you want to know what is this alert, announcement, batch, CarPlay, critical, and provisional, and the sound, I guess they have the documentation somewhere here. By the way, this particular notification setting will return the state of that particular permission. So whether you are authorized, denied, or whether you are not determined, or the provisional. So here you can see the provisional permission. So you can just open this on the new tab, and you can actually go down and take a look. So what is this? Alert means that set whether the notification can be displayed to the user on the device, right? So we need alert to be true. So I guess by default is true already. And the announcement, if enabled, Siri will read your notifications. If you want the Siri to read your notification, you can set it to the true, but by default it's always false. Badge, which means that in the icon you will see some badge, like we have 1, 2, 3. So in the app icon you will see some badge. So currently I guess we have that set it to true, and by default is true. And the CarPlay, which means that notification will appear when device is connected to the CarPlay. So by default it should be false. So if you want to set it true, so you can just set it to true or something. So we are not creating the application for the CarPlay and all of this stuff, so we'll just set it to false from here. And provisional, this is the another kind of the permission, which we basically call it as a silent permission. So if you want to read more, you can just go and see on this particular silent notification, or the provisional notification. It's based on the Android 12 and plus. You can authorize the provisional authorization. This type of permission type system allows for the notification permission to be instantly granted. So which means that the user, you will not get a dialog box pop up on the iOS to request a permission, which is basically done the silent type. This permission allows the notification to be displayed quietly, only visible on the device notification center. So on the iOS, you can only see your notification on the iOS notification center. You don't get any alert, or you don't get any notification like when you are using the application or application is a background, you don't get any notification at all. So all of the notification you can see on the notification center only. So if you set it in this way, so if you just set the provisional certificate to true, so you means that you are requesting that silent kind of the permission. So all of this will be treated as a false, and this will be, if you enable this one, all of this will be treated as a false because you are requesting a silent permission. So you can just go and read more about it, and then we'll just go to here, and on the sound you want to set whether you want to set a sound for that particular notification. By default it is true. So once we have this, what we'll do is you can just go and grab this particular code from here too. So this is to check whether what you want to do on when you receive a permission, right? So when the permission is granted or not granted, or whether the permission is removed. So all of those stuff you can actually listen to it. So here you can see you have the notification for the authorized, the denied. So if you want to show some dialog when the user denied the notification, or when they authorize, or you want to show a different route, you can actually do it from here. So here you can just say the bug debug print, and that should be, let's import this particular package from the foundation, and that should be the one. So let's print it out over here. So once you can actually set all of this depending on your requirement. So once we have this, let's go to the once we have this particular setting over here, I guess so currently let's leave it as from here. Currently we are over here, so we know what is authorized, denied, and not determined, and the provisional. So that is over here, we are getting that from the particular setting authorized status. And let's go on handling the message over here. We are not on the web, so we don't want to. Later, if you want to generate a token for your API, you need to use this particular functionality, but later we'll create a function to get that particular. So you have a type of message, message or the payload that can be viewed on the three types. The notification only message, the payload contain the notification property, which will be used to present a visible notification to the user. So it is only on the notification, and which has the data only message, also known as the silent message. This payload contain a custom key value pair with the data property. So if you are sending some custom key value pair, later we will see how we can send that one. And this message are considered low priority, you can see more or later. And the notification and the data message, so this payload with the both notification and the data property. So here are the different type of this particular message. So later we'll see with how we can send a notification as well as the data message. And with this key value pair with the data property, you can add a certain extra key value pair, like you can add the deep links and all of those stuff on the notification, and when the user click on that notification, you can like send them to the particular screen inside your application. So it's very useful when you want to do deep linking. And other than that, once we are there, we need to show the foreground messaging. Foreground messaging means that when your application is on the foreground, which means users are interacting with your application. And by default, Android and iOS, what it does, it doesn't show the notification when your application is on the foreground. So you can actually listen to that with this particular functionality, Firebase messaging, on message.listen. So you can actually listen over here, and this will get a remote message for you. So you can the stream contain the remote message detailing various information about the payload, such as where it was from, unique ID, and all of those information. And you can directly access your Flutter application state and context. So here later we will see how we can redirect to the, or we can do the deep linking using this. Currently we will be seeing like here the foreground and the notification message. you can read this about here, and you can see by default on the Android and iOS, the notification is not visible on the foreground. So if your application is on the foreground, when you receive a push notification, you don't receive any of the it's not displayed, or it's not visible to the user. You can only your notification is only showed when your app is on the background by default. So if you want to fix this particular issue, what you have to do is you have to set the high priority for your notification using the notification channel, and also on the iOS you have to update the presentation option for the your application. So what you can do is you can just go to this information, you can go to this Flutter application, and you can actually set all of this information. For currently we are not focused on the iOS, later we will see. Let's focus on the Android configuration. So I guess if we are over here, and what we can do currently is with this particular setup, you can actually start to receive your notification already. So if you want to test, you can just go to the main.the file, and once your Firebase is initialized, you can also do the your notification. So I can just say a final, and I can just say a notification, and notification, which is of equals to the container.read, and I can read the Firebase push notification provider from here. And once we are done with this, actually you can actually start to receive the notification. So if I go and start my application from here, and let's go back to our device over here, and I guess the application is not running over here. Okay, we are inside the virtual device. Let's wait for this particular application to get running over here. Until then, we'll just go to the console. So we can go to the Firebase console, and you can just go and log into your particular console from here. And what you can do is you can select your particular project. We are currently working with the Flutter ecom app dev, and what we'll do is we'll try to go from here messaging. So just select the messaging from here, and we'll try to send some messaging from here. Create your first messaging. I guess our Firebase push notification, we need to create a push notification, and let's create a test notification one. Let's say test notification one, and test notification one, let's say a body. And here you can also add the image, and currently we don't have any image. Let's get it later for that one. And then we will just target our application. Currently we are working with the Android, so let's select the Android from here, and let's click on now, and just click next. And we don't want to send any extra field from here. Actually later you can send the field from here, but let's keep it the default one for now, and just review it. And let us go back, and why this particular application is still not running over here. I guess the application is not running, and I have some install fail insufficient storage. So I have insufficient storage over here. I guess it's running for now, and yeah, we are here inside the application. So what we will do now is let's go and get with that particular notification. So let's publish it, and let's go and see over here if we have registered for the Firebase, and let's wait for this one to come up. It will take a bit longer time to get your notification into your application. So while that is going on, let's go back to our push notification over here, And let's try to set up our notification from here. So we will be setting up this notification, the foreground notification for your particular application. So if we see that currently our application is running on the foreground, so we may not be able to see that particular message. So what we'll do is we'll just close this one, and once that is in background, which means that now application is on the background, which you can get it from here. So the application is running over here, and let's go back over here. And next is what we want to do is we'll just go to the Android side over here on notification messaging, and we need to create a notification channel with a high priority. Okay, by default it is on the default priority, which means it is on the low priority over here, then which means that it is not available on the when your application is running on the foreground. So we need to set the notification with the max important label. So you can just read the documentation from here and understand what it actually means. So basically it means that by default all of the notification channel you receive on with the Firebase cloud messaging are set to the default importance level. So we need to change that one to the max importance level in order to receive our notification on the when our application is running on the foreground. So what we currently need is we need this notification channel, which is coming from the Flutter local notification plugin that we have previously installed. So we'll be using that one. So let's go back over here, and what I will do is I'll create a new file and call it as a local push notification. So let's call it as a local push notification dot file, and let's create the class of the local push notification, and then that should be the one. And final, we will require the Flutter local notification plugin. So I'll just create a local notification plugin from here, and let's create the dependency. Let's create a constructor for this one. And what we need now is we need a provider for this one, and let's create a provider, and let's say this is a local push notification provider, and let's import this one over here, and this will be returning particularly a local push notification from here. And we need an instance of our local push notification, Flutter local push notification. So final, we'll just create that particular variable over here, and then let's create a Flutter. I guess you can create a provider for that one, so I guess that would be much easier. So if you need it to access it later in the other inside your application in other places, so if you have a provider you can actually get that pretty easily. So okay, so I guess we get a notification back onto our application. So you can actually see over here you get a notification over here. So notification test1 and notification 1 body. So which means that actually our notification is already working in the application, but we need to set up certain things, so like the foreground, right? So let's go and set up our notification. So let's go and create a new file that will be of the loc it should be of a Flutter loc local notification, Flutter local notification provider file. So Flutter okay, so I guess that should be fine. Let's create a provider for this one, and let's call it as Flutter local notification, right? So Flutter local notification provider. So let's import this particular package from here, and once we are done, we need to return type each of the Flutter local notification plugin. So just return this particular instance from here. Now whenever you want to access this, you can access it using the provider. So let's go back over here and let's call it as a I need a ref.thewatch, and let's get the Flutter local notification provider. Okay, so we can get this from here and pass it over there, so it should be good to go. Once we have this, let's go inside over here and let's have the init function over here. So we will initialize some of our plugin over here. So let's go and do void, and I guess it will be of the underscore init, and here we will go and make it as a asynchronous function. Now here we need to initialize our those information from here. First we need to have this particular channel, so let's go and create this channel over here. So let's paste it over here, and I guess this one should be of a let's have this one. It should be of a description. So you will have a ID, you will have a title and the description and the importance. So make sure the importance is of the high, because we need a max importance level in order to show the local push notification when the application is running on the foreground. So if the application is running on the foreground, if you want to receive that notification, we need to get this particular information from here. So I guess let's create a function for this one. So the return type for this one will be, let's create a Android notification channel, and let's create a function of Android notification channel itself, or you can just rename as this one as a notification channel of the max, because we are providing a max from here. And the next is what I will do is I'll just copy this one from here, or cut this section and paste it here, and from here we will return the our channel from here. So that should be fine. So you can just change this one later. We'll see what is this one, where you will actually can see from the setting. So if you want to change it to the different one, so high importance channel, so you can just say that we can just say ecom, we have a ecom, right? Ecom app, let's say ecom app, and title is ecom app high or something. So you can say the high importance notifications, all of those stuff you can actually passing over here. So once we have this channel, let's go and grab this particular if you have we have the channel already. Next is we need to initialize the Flutter local notification itself. So just grab this information from here. Now let's go back over to our local push notification, and in the init section let us place that one over here. So just place it over here, and we are not going to use this one because we already have that over here. So this will be our local notification, and the channel we have our notification channel max. Just copy and paste it over here, and we need to invoke it. So we are almost there. So after that we need to initialize this local plugin. If you go down over here and we have to initialize it, we need the initialize setting. So I guess it should be also of the await over here. This is I guess a future, so it returns a future of blue. So we need the initialize setting, so we have to create the initialization setting first of all, and then so let's grab this one from out of here, and let's go over here, and I'll just say that we need this initialization setting. Just copy, and here we need the Android, iOS, Linux, and the Mac OS. So we need to provide all of this information. So I'll just for the Android, and then we'll have the iOS, only two. So for the iOS, I guess we need the drawing draw in initialization setting. So you can just pass in over here, and here you can actually pass in all of the information. So default setting may be good enough. Request alert permission, true, request sound permission, request batch permission. So all of these are over here. So if you want to customize all of this, you can actually customize this one from the constructor parameter. So if you want to say like request alert permission to something like a false, you can actually go over here, and I guess it should be of the false or something. So I guess it is not the so I guess it should be of a request, right? Okay, so you can actually set the permission over here, but let's not customize it, and let's just leave it as a default one. And then on the Android side, I need to create the Android initialization setting. So let's go and add that initialization setting over here. And if I add it over here, and if I want to provide over here, you can see that it takes a default string of that one. String is a default icon. So I guess I need to provide the icon name over here. So currently, if you go to the app and the Android app, and in the source folder and in the main, I have added in the rest folder, I have added some icon over here, which is this particular icon. This will be our notification icon. So you need to create this particular icon. I will be adding this one over if you want to take it from there. And if you want to create your own icon, you can also create. So we have this particular icon. I need the name, so I'll just grab the name of this particular icon from here, and I will just paste it over here. So I guess that should be the one, and here I can just make it as a const, I guess. So that should be fine. And now we have this initialization setting, and we are good to go over here. So we can just pass in over here, and actually we have some more other options that we can actually pass in on when we initialize it. So we have a on did receive notification. So these are the on did receive the notification. I guess these are the new functionality they have added. So it was not there on the previous version, so I guess this is the new one. And I'm not actually sure what this one does, but let us try to see on the later on when we are actually using it. So over here, and what does it does, it again takes the detail. So what is this detail? Is a notification response. So let us try to debug print this one, debug print print, and let's try to print this one over here, detail dot to string or something. So I guess that should be the one, and let's import this debug print from here, and let's print out the foundation, and just copy this one and just paste it over here. So we are good to go actually over here. And I guess instead of, if you don't want to use a debug print, we already have actually a log provider, right? So if I go somewhere, provider, I guess where is that one? So we can actually have a log provider somewhere here. I guess it's somewhere, so I can't find where is that one, but we have that particular log provider. I guess it's on the common. Let's go to common. Okay, so yeah, in the logo, and we have this setup already done over here. So this is actually providing us with the setup logging. So this is actually doing us the setup logging. So if I want, I can create a new provider from here, and let's call this one as logging logging provider provider.d.file. And I guess we already have this file, so let's call it as a log provider, and then let's provide this one over here. So provi provider and log log provider. So let's just grab this, and here we'll just logging logging, or what was that particular dependency that we require. So it was the logger, right? So logr logger. So let's rename this one as a logger. So it should be actually a logger logger, a logger provider. And let's open up this, and it should be of the logger logger provider provider, and here it should return the logger. Let's import this package from here too. Just import it, and here you can just paste that logger. And actually it takes a parameter, so we need a family over here, dot the family, and then logger, and type is of the, let's say, of a string, and let's call this one as a ref, and the we need a name, so let's say as a name, and that name we will pass in over here as a name name over here. So that should be the one. So logger provider. So let's go back to our local push notification, and instead of the debug print, if you need that logger, so I can actually pass in as a dependency from here. So logger, and what you can do is logr logger, and it will be of the logger, and then we can actually add this one over here, this dot the logger, and we can use that actually logger over here. So underscore logger dot the logger dot log, and here I'll just say info, and we don't have to provide this log label. And on the message, I'll just copy this one and paste it over here. That should be fine. And just remove this one, so we don't need it over here. So I'll just copy and paste it over here. So if you don't want, you just can continue using the debug print, but it's better that we can have that one. So once I have that, I'll also need to provide the logger. So let's create a logger from here, ref.watch, and the logr logger provider, and I need to provide a key over here. So the class key that I need to provide is this one. So let's provide the class name over here, and let's provide the logger from here. So just copy this and paste it over here. So we have that, and let's remove this foundation from here. So I guess we are good to go over here. And other than that, I guess once we are done with the initialization of this one, we need to have a functionality actually over here, so we can actually show the notification. Currently we are just initializing, but we don't have any functionality, so show the notification using our local notification. So let's create a functionality over here. So what we'll do is we will go back to our Firebase messaging. I guess it should be the Firebase push notification class, and here what we need to do is we need to create one function. So if we go back over here, we need this particular message listener, so it will send the incoming message when our application is on the foreground. So this is a foreground listener. So just grab this particular code from here, and let's go back over to our project, and here let's create one function. Let's call it as a void, and on Firebase let's call it as a message receive, the message received. So when the Firebase message received, this function over here, and here we will try to set it up. So I got the message whitelist in the foreground message data. So okay, so let's remove all of this, we don't require this one, and just remove this one. So here what we will do is we'll try to get all of the information. first each you have a message dot the notification message dot, you can see you can get a lot of the information from this particular remote message. It has the token, you can request the lot of information. So currently we want some information from here, like the notification. So message should have a notification, right? So I guess final, and I'll call it as an OTI for notification, which is of equals to the message that we have, remote message dot. I can just, can I get the notification? So get the notification setting. So I guess this message is coming from top here, so that is the issue over here. So I guess I have to make it as a private so we don't get confused over here. So it should be, this one is the message, right? So dot, and let me see why it is not working. So remote message, so this is a message and this is a class remote message. And if I go to this particular class remote message over here, it should have sender ID, category, collapse data, from message ID, and then we have a notification. So I should be able to get that notification over here. So message dot the notification. Okay, so I got that one, and it may be a null. So notification can be of a null, so I need to make it as a nullable over here. So I guess I will make it as a nullable. Once we have that, we can also have the another one is of the message message dot, we can have the notification, and if it's not null, then if it is a type of the Android. So we have Android, Apple, body, title, and all of the information. So let's check for if this is a Android notification. So it is of a type of the Android notification. So let's grab this information too. So once we have that, next is I will grab the data from here. So message dot we have the data, right? So this message data is the information of the hash map. So I will just grab this one as the hash map, so I will get the data from here. So once we have all of this information, now I can check that if the message dot notification is not null, or you can just say that message dot the notification is this one. So if the notification itself is not null, then which means that we have some notification over here. And then also we'll check this one, and if it is an Android, if the Android is not equals to the null, which means that the notification is for the type of the Android, because in the FCM we can actually specify the app type, right? We can select the iOS and the Android, so it should be for the Android type. And once we have this, now we should be able to get the information from this notification and send it to the local notification over here. Why we need to send it to local notification is by default we have already mentioned that this message is not able to be displayed when your application is in the foreground. So we need to use a push it to local notification. So local notification will be able to grab that information and show the notification. So let's go over here and create a function of the void, and let's say show notification, right? So NOTI, if I see ATI and show notification, and we need to pass in the information over here. So if we if you remember that, if I go back over to my here, we have this information data and all of those. So I need to pass that information back to the I need to pass that to the local notification, so I get all of those information. So first of all, let's create the notification from here. So I will just say a local notification plugin that I have option to show, and this is a type of the future void. So I can just make use of a await over here and make this one as a asynchronous function. Now if you see, I need a ID over here. I need a title from that particular notification. I also need the body and the notification detail itself, and also it may have some other function that we can pass in on the show, which is of the string of the type of the payload itself. So just get it over here, payload 2. So currently we don't have all of this information, so what we need to get each, let's make it over here. This is of a type of the I guess it's a type is int, so we need to pass it int, string, and the notification detail from here. So let's fill in this one, notification detail, and here we need to pass in Android, iOS, Linux, Mac. So let's pass in the Android, and then let's close this one information from here, and this is of the Android, and then we need to pass in the iOS too, right? And this is the okay, so we need to pass in this detail, so drawing notification detail, and just create it. And I guess you can pass in a lot of information like the present alert, present batch, sound. I guess it should be the one. So if it should be you can just customize that detail. Okay, so let's just keep it as a default one for currently. And on the Android side, we need an Android notification detail, and let's pass in over here. And here you can pass in the channel ID, channel name. So this is important because we need to create a channel. Currently we don't have any channel, so we need to create a channel ID, channel name, description, icon, importance label. Default is a default importance, but to show the head of information or head of notification, which means we need maximum information or max the importance label. So all of this information you can actually pass in from here. It's actually a lot of the information. So let's go and create all of this information. Let's create a 101, let's say something for now, and let's grab this information and let's create it below here. And I guess the return type will be of this one, and I will just say Android notification detail, and here we will just return that this one from here, and let's fill in the information. And okay, let's make this one as a private function, and let's grab this one, and let's put in over here. So we got that one, and let's fill in all of this information over here. So let's try to fill in this information. So let's see what are the things. So we need to pass in the channel ID, channel name, description. So let's get that one from here. So channel ID first of all. So let's say a channel ID of 1001 or something, and then we have a channel ID, channel name. So let's say this is of the general notification or something over here. So you can add that one, notification over here, and then you can have like the importance, importance label. So let's add the importance label dot the I can set it to the high, or you can just set it to the importance label, high, low, max, all of the information. So you can just say if you want to have a max, and which create the notification sound and all the other stuff. And then we can also have the priority, and you can just say what is this one? If you seek what is the priority, so I can just say the priority of the notification. So you can just grab this priority, and priority dot, it has a high, low, max. So we are setting as a max, so let's set it as a max here too. And then I guess other thing, let's say we have any other information. So channel action, channel description, if you want to give a description of the channel, I guess this is general general notification, notification channel. So let me move this one up importance level. Okay, so we got that. I guess it should be fine. And we have some of channels. So batch, it takes a future with whether the notification posted on this channel can appear as application icon batch. So if you want that, you can just set it to true over here. So once we got that, I guess we can just return from a const from here. It should be const const. Okay, so we got that, and now I can replace okay, so we have already replaced it over here. And next is that we need this information too. So I need ID, title, and body. So how do we get this one? I guess we'll create a class, a data class, to pass in all of this information to our application. And for that, let's go to the notification, and let's create a new folder and call it as a model. So maybe we'll require a model class over here, and let's call this one as a CERVED receipt notification dot the dot. So you can give any names. I'll just create this one. So let's create a class, and this one should be of the RECERVED received notification, right? Receipt notification model of the class, and it can have the final of, we have the type of the int, we require ID as you saw already. Final, we need a string, and it can be of a type of the sorry, it's not the null, it should be of a final, and type is of the string, and nullable type, we need a title. Message notification can have a title, and then we have a final, let's also have a string, and this may be of a type of string, and it may be also of the body. So notification can have a title, right? So I need to close it here, not the comma, I need to close it. So final title, ID, title, body, and it can also have an image. So if you send image from the notification, so it may be also of a type of the string and can be of nullable. So image URL, maybe you send some image on the notification. Final, and we can also have a payload payload, or the data information. So payload payload, and this may be also of a type of the string and nullable type. So let's create a constructor for all of this final field. So once we are over here, so let's grab this one, and let's set it as some field as a requirement. So I guess it should be the one. Okay, so let's just remove this again, we don't need it. And here let's create this one as a true string, and also let's generate the equality operator. So that should create a data class for us. So once we have that, let's go to our local push notification, and here we'll get it RECERVED receipt notification, and we'll just call it as a message that we are receiving. And from here I can grab the message dot the ID, and I can have the title from here as message dot the title, and here I can have the message dot the body. So we are good to go over there. and payload we can also get it from the message dot the payload over here. So I guess this function is quite ready. Now we can go back to our this particular Firebase push notification class, and from here we can actually call that. So we need a dependency now for that one. So I will go over here. Final, we will require this particular we will require this one, right? So local push notification. So actually I guess we don't need to have a dependency for this one. Maybe we can directly call that particular function, but I guess it's good to have a dependency. Maybe we'll later use it from some other functionality. So local push notification, and I'll just say as a local push notification, and just import this class over here, and then let's provide the dependency this dot the local push notification, and here I need to get that local push notification, so which is of equals to ref dot the watch, and I need a provider for this one. So do we have a provider? So we have a provider, so let's grab this provider and pass in over here, and then this one should be of final. And once we are done with this, we have this notification I can pass in over here. So once we have this local push notification, so we'll call it from here. So local push notification dot the show notification. So we need to pass in that message. So we see receive the receive notification, and this one we need to fill in the information that we have to pass in. So let's fill in all of this information, and let's arrange it properly first of all. So let me arrange it, and let's close it over here. So let's fill the information. The title or the ID will be of our what we have is the notification. So notification dot, let's set it as a hash code, and then we have a title, so we can just call from the notification dot the title, and the body we can get it from the notification dot the body. This notification contain all of those information. So image URL, so I can get it from the Android that we have. Actually this Android will actually have that one, so Android dot image URL, so I can get it from here. And then the payload I can grab it from the data. This is the extra data that we are receiving, so let's grab that payload over here, and I can just encode it to the JSON format. So JSON encode it, so JSON encode, and pass the object of this hash map inside this, so it will be of a JSON format. So once we have this, and then what we can do is let's go back to our we need to listen to on message received. So this is the function that we want to listen. So actually we can listen it whenever we are creating this particular functionality. So I can make it as a final call, a final function, and we can call it when we instantiate this particular class. This will instantiate our the notification, and also it will set up this particular function over here. And if you go back to over here, we are on the foreground, and also we need to listen our notification on the background. So this is a background messaging. The process to handle the background messaging is currently different on the Android and the Apple and the web-based platform. So on the Android and iOS, we need to create this particular function. It should be a anonymous function, and also it should be a top level function. So make sure that you create an anonymous function, and it must be a top level function, which means no class method which requires to initialize. So what we will do is we'll just go and copy this from here. So this is to listen to a message on the background. Firebase messaging background handler. So we need to create this one, and then let's go to our over here. And currently, if you see this particular log over here, you should see somewhere here that the broadcast message species background message could not be handled in the Dart, as no background message handler has been registered. So which means we haven't registered that particular things. And also the default notification channel in the Android manifest is also missing. So some of the configuration are still missing. So let's go on to the top of this class, and you can register over here, or you can create a new file if you want. Otherwise you can just use it in the same. So let's create a private function. If you don't want this one to be private, or if you want to be a global function, you can create a new file and register over there. So let us import this Firebase initialize from the Firebase core. And it says that if you are using if you are going to use the Firebase service in the background, such as the Firestore, and make sure you call the initialize app before using the Firebase service. So this actually initialize the app for the this initialize the new Firebase app instance by the name of the this method should be called before the use of Flutter plugin. I guess we have already initialized all of this. I guess we have already done this one, right? Before we haven't. So just leave it as it for now, because since the Firebase by default is a singleton instance, and I guess we can try to remove on this one, but I'm not sure if we need to keep this one. So let's keep it as it is, but you can just try and see if you can work without just removing this call from here and just registering the background. But for now I'll just leave it as it is from here. And then here if you want to get the output, like if this function has been called, then you can actually use this debug print, or you can also use the log that we have previously used, right? So I'll just use the bug debug print over here, and then just grab it over here, and just that should be fine, right? So we'll just, and then once we are done with this one, we need to register that one somewhere here. So let's try to grab that, and this is the one functionality that we need to register. So let's go and register it over here on the init function. So since this is created when we initialize this particular class, so this class is already initialized, so if you remember. So once we are done this one, and then you can also comment out all of this information, okay? So if you want to be more like, if you want to have some documentation, so you can just grab all of this information and actually pass in over here. So you can create some documentation for later users, so if you don't forget it, what it was, why you created all of this information. So let's have some of this over here, and that should be the one. I guess it should be okay. So this is the documentation that we have. We are registering it, and this one on message receipt, you can also grab this one information. So where was that? I guess it was somewhere where was it? Background here. So I guess that was no here, right? The foreground message. So if you need a foreground message, then this one. So I guess we have somewhere here. This is the one that we're actually setting up, and you can grab this and copy this, and you can actually set some documentation over here. So it was somewhere here, right? Here. This is the one that we are using that one for. Just paste that information over here. So this way you can create a documentation. So I will leave it to you. I'm just showing you, if you need some documentation, you can create in this way, so what later when you come back you know why you created all of this functionality. For now, let us try to run the application. So let's run our application, and it says that we are getting the background handler need to be either static function or a top level function. So it is giving us an error, so I guess we need to create that functionality. So let us go back and see that particularly that we have created that particular function. If you remember just now, if I go over here and I have created this functionality over here, that is the one it is actually trying to give us an error. So let's create a new file and let's create a top level function, and I'll just call this one as a Firebase. So Firebase, let's call this as one as a Firebase BACKGROU, and the Firebase background, and then the Firebase background it should be of the messaging.the file. So once we have that, let's go and grab that information. So it was from here. I'll just grab this one out of from here, and I'll just go and paste it over here. Sorry. Okay, so what I did just now was incorrect, so I need it over here. So let me put it over here. So currently we just made a mistake. It should have been on the top level function as we mentioned over there. So we just ignored that one and created inside our class. So that's why we got an error. So we need to import this one as a top level function and just register it over here, and let's try to run, and I hope that should fix that particular error. Okay, so we are getting some error again, and this error is still showing the same particular Flutter platform. Well, I guess it's not from that previous class, so I guess it is from the different class. So I guess let's go and look into the console over here from where it is coming, and it is actually coming from local. Okay, so it's coming from the Flutter local notification. So if we go to the app and over here, okay, so it's in the initialize, and it's calling from actually from here, I guess. So call this method on the application before the Flutter plugin, but it hasn't mentioned about what this particular function does. Okay, so function passed to this on did receive background notification response. Callback need to be annotated with the @VM entry point annotation to ensure that they are not stripped out of the Dart compiler. So I guess we don't need this one over here. All right, so I guess that one is the one that is actually causing the error, so maybe we don't need that one, and let's try to restart the application one more time. Okay, so now we are good to go, so we don't have that particular error, and I guess we shouldn't have created this one. It should be good to go to use it with our local functionality over here, but it's okay. So if you want to replace it, that should be perfectly fine. So let's go back to our project over here, and let's go back over here, and let's try to send a new notification from here, and let's duplicate this one, and let's send the notification of a 3, and let's say it's for 3, and also of a 3 from here. Click on next, and we'll select our Android app, click next, and it should be for now. Next, and currently we don't want to send any of the information other than that. This is the field of information that we are passing, actually the payload, like the data. If you see over here, if you see that we are receiving the data payload over here, this is the payload that we are passing in. This is the actual field that we need to fill in, but we can just leave it for now and just publish it. And let's go back to our application. So I guess let's go back to our device over here, and let's wait for the notification to come in. Let's log in inside our application, and let me close all of this. Now, since the application we have already configured the foreground, it should be able to receive the notification when the application is running on the foreground. So let's wait for it. And here you go, you can see that now we are on the we receive a notification over here. So when our application is running, we receive a notification. So storage space is running out, so I need to clear out some of the information. So now we receive a test notification 3, and which means that we are good to go. So our notification is working and we can receive the notification on the foreground. And next is that we need to receive a notification with the image. So let's go and see what we actually receive over here. And you can see that in the log console, all of this information are printed out for you: broadcast receiver, home page dispose, instance of this notification response, and all of those information are printed over here. If you go to the documentation, and then if you go to this particular section where we are defining over here, we also need to add this particular content to our manifest file. So once created, we can update the FCM to use our own channel rather than the default FCM one. To do this, you need to go to this app, Android app source main, and the Android manifest, and inside your manifest, your Flutter project, add the metadata with the application component within the application. So we need to copy this, right, and just copy this content, and then we'll just go to this our Android section. So let's go on to the top over here, and I will go to the main, and then I'll go to the Android manifest, and inside this application, let's try to add over here. So before this one, let us add the metadata over here, and this is the channel name. So whatever channel, high importance channel, so this should be the same as that you have created over here. So when you created this particular notification channel over here, so it should match that one. So if it doesn't match, it will not work. So what you can do is either replace this one or replace your manifest one. So if you go to the manifest, and either copy this one and replace it with your one, or you can create your own one channel over here, and this is how you pass in over here. And if you go to the setting inside your application, and if you select the application of this one, so currently this is the one, if you see the notification, and then you have a general notification that we created, this is the one, right? And this should have the ID. You can see that this is a general notification that we have created. And then if you see another one with each of the high importance notification, so this is the ones that the high importance notification, that is this one. So if I go over here, and this is the one, so high importance notification over here. So this is the information that it has created for us, and I guess after that we can just restart our application. Once the application is running, you can just try to send a new notification from here, and let's create a new notification. So I guess we can use this one to create a duplicate one from here, and just change the information, like this is of a 4, this is of the 4, and then this is also of the 4, and then just click on next, and next, send it now, and next, and click on next, and we are not sending any data for now. Just click on, and just click on publish. So just wait for this notification to pop up again, and you can see that you can receive this particular notification over here. So notification 4, which means that it's working fine. And then next is that we need to set up how we can receive the notification with the image over here. Let us go back to the console over here, and let us try to send a new notification with a image. So let's say this is of a 5 and this is of the 5, and in order to upload the image over here, you need to upgrade your plan over here. So make sure you upgrade your plan, otherwise you will not be able to attach the image over here. So let's go to the Google and search for some email. So let's say image, and let's go to the image over here, Google image, and let's search for, let's say I want to search for the Nepal or something. So let's get the image from here, and let us take one image from here. I guess let's take this one, and then okay, let me take this one. So if I grab the copy the link address, if I go back over here and paste it over here, so I guess that should be the okay, so I guess it's not the correct image URL, and copy the image address. I guess that should be the one. So let's paste it over here, and so you can see that the image notification is showing over here, and that should be fine. So let's rename this one as a 5, or guess it should be not of a 3. I think we have already used the 4, right? So let's click on next over here, and then next over here. Let's set it to now, and next, and click on next, and currently let's leave with the data section, and for now I guess let's keep it empty. On the next lecture I guess we will add that one. So let's wait for this notification to come up in our application. Once we are waiting for this particular message, so let's go back to our project over here, and in the local notification, what we'll do is we'll go over here, and in this particular notification detail, we have an option to add style information. You can see that this is the style information we can actually add in. So this is the one that we need, and let's go and take it as a parameter, which is of the style information. So we can actually pass in as a type, as a nullable, and then we can just say if the system style, we will pass in this system style over here. So it cannot be const over here, so which means that should be fine. And then once this system style is specific information about the rich notification style to apply to the notification, whether it's image notification, and so we can add in the rich information over here. So once we have that, let's go and create another function over here. Let's create a future UR future, and that will be of a type, return type will be of a string, and let's say this one is of a private function of a base 64 encode, the encoded image. So let us encode it to the base 64. We'll just pass in a string of the URL over here, the image URL, and from here let's create this one as a asynchronous function, and from here what we will do is let's create a final, and we'll use RESP. Let's use the response over here, sorry, RESPONSE response, and with this response what we can do is this response of equals to the await. I guess we have a dio installed already, so dio, do we have a dio? You can either create a dio instance, or if you want to use a HTTP, then I guess that should be also fine. So let's create the instance of the dio over here directly, and I will just say it should be of a get type, and the path over here, path will be of the URL, I guess the URL that we are passing in. So URL over here, URL, let's pass in over there, And then once we have that, what we will do is this will be our response of the dynamic type. So here what we will do is of a final, and let's say of a string, type is of the string, and let's say this is of a base 64 data or something, and this will be of the base 64 encoded, and here we will pass in the list, right? So I'll just get the response that we have dot the what we can get is the data, I guess, data, and this data is of the dynamic type, and I guess that should be fine. If okay, so I guess we are receiving the notification, so let's wait for that one. And from here, let me return from here the base 64 data that we have just converted. So I guess it should be able to decode that one, and response.the data, and let's go back to our device over here, and if we see over here, we currently cannot see that particular notification of the image. So that is the thing that we are currently missing. So I guess this should particularly solve the issue. So once we have this base 64, we can go over here and pass in the information that we actually need. So let's go over here, and over here we need to pass in the style, sorry, it was what we need to pass in the STYL style information, right? What was that? Let's go down. It was the style information that we need to pass in. So let's go over here and pass in the style information, and let's arrange this one. So I guess, okay, so I pass in, this is a style information, is abstract, so it cannot be instantiated. So I guess it should be the big picture or something, like big picture information. So I guess we need this one. So here we need to pass in the big picture, and here let's pass in the byte array, I think Android bit map. So let's get it from the base 64. So here we need to get it from the base 64. So let's create that base 64 on the top somewhere here, and I guess it should be here, like let's say of a final, and let's call it as a string, final strn string, which is of the, let's say, large icon, and I can just use of the await function, and here I can get it from the base 64 encoded image. I need to pass in the message that it should have the image URL, right? So we can pass in that one, and it is a nullable type, so we need to check if that is not null. So what we can do is, let's say if it is of a null, we will just pass in the empty string. That should be fine, I guess. And now we have this large icon, and that should be of the base 64 format. And also let's add the another one, and that should be of a type is of the string, string string again. And let's say this is of a big big picture, big picture, and this is the await, await, and underscore the base 64 encoded version of, I will get the same over here. Just copy and paste, and that should be fine. And I guess that should be the one. And here from the base 64 string, I need to pass in this big picture. That should be of the string that we need to pass in. So the next is that you can also have other information on this big picture style, like you have a picture, big picture, then you can have content title, content summary, and all of the others. You can also pass in the large icon and other stuff. So I guess that should be fine. We don't need to pass in the large icon. If you want, then I guess you can just pass in this one. So let me also pass in, I guess, or I guess let's remove this one for now. Just comment it out because it's the same image and not the different image. So once we have that, I guess let me try to comment this one out. And this is basically for the image notification, and we should also have another one which is of the simple notification that basically doesn't display the if the notification doesn't contain the image, we should not display that one. If the notification is of the contain the image, then we should actually display that image notification over here. I guess it should work. So let us try to get it one more time. So let us try to send one notification with the image. This is the notification that has an image. So let me try to send this notification back down, and let us try to see if we can receive this notification. So click on next, and let's say now, next, and let's give it this empty and just publish it, and let's wait for that one to complete. And once we are sending it, we need to restart this application so we get the change the compile code of this particular version of the application, so which can receive the notification of the image. So let's wait for it to complete over here. Let's log in, and here you go. When you run your application, you will get this particular error. So we need to fix this particular error over here. So the response type doesn't match, so we need a list int over here. So let me go and rerun this application, and over here on the get, we need a type of the list of the int over here, and then this we can pass in the option over here, option, and then we can pass in the option and the response type that we need. So I can just say respun response type. I will need bytes from here. So I guess that should fix the issue over here. Response type dot the data, and if it doesn't take a null, so if it is null, we'll just pass in the empty list over here. So I guess that should be fine. And what we'll do is we will rerun our application, and let me send a new notification over here. And once you receive a notification, you should see a image notification over here, and once you click on this one, it will take you to the application. So what we want to do now is, when we click on that particular notification, it should send us to this particular detail page over here. So what we want to do is, once we click on, it should send to this particular screen. So what we'll do is we will go to the over here on our documentation, and let's go to the notification section, and in the handling interaction, you can see that once you receive the notification, by default what it does is it will actually open the application on the both on the Android and the iOS. It will just open the application. So if the application is terminated, it will be started, and if the application is in the background, it will just brought to the foreground. So what we want to do now is we don't want to just open the application, but we want to navigate to the inside of the screen, or we want to do a deep link to our application. So how we can do that one is we have an option over here. So if you go over here, it has the option to listen. So you can actually listen to the open the Firebase messaging that on open messaging messaging open app that listen, and you can actually listen over there. So we can use this particular concept and send it to the different screen based on the type of the data that we receive from the push notification. So let us configure this one. let us go back to our application. So let's go to the Firebase push notification section over here, and I guess somewhere below here let's create a new function. Let's say it should be of a future, 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 and I guess this doesn't return anything, so let's say a void, and let's say set up the message. We have the setup, I guess it should be setup intr ACT, the interacted MESSA interacted message, or you can call anything over here. So I'll just create this one as a asynchronous function, so it should be over here. Let's create an asynchronous function, and over here what we'll do is we'll copy this particular code. So I guess it's already that particular function, so why not we just copy this whole concept, and let's copy this whole thing from here, I guess over here, and then let's go back over here and paste it over here. And once we have this, we don't need this particular Firebase messaging instance. Let's just remove this one, and then what we need is over here we just can use our underscore the messaging over here, messaging that they get the initial message over here. So we already have the instance, so we don't have to get that one. And once we have that, we will check if the initial message is not null, so this receives the remote message, right? So if that is not null, then what we will do is we will go over here and then call the on message. Also handle any interaction when the app is in the background via the stream listener. So when our application is in the background, we need to handle that particular case. So what we'll do is we will listen to this on messaging app opened, and then on call this particular function. So here is the thing that we actually need to check. So here we will check for the link over here. So what we have is messaging data type, and we'll pass in the link over here instead of this one, so LINK link. And if it has the option of the link, then we will actually navigate that one to the another function. So I guess we don't need to check over something over here like this. So I guess I will just check for the final, and this will be type of the string, and I'll just create a link over here which is of equals to the, I will get it from this type over here, and then we'll just pass in the link over here, and that should be the one. And then what we'll do is, if we have this link, and I guess okay, so if the messaging link, and then the data type of the map, and if it has the link, then what we will do is we will go and navigate. So once to navigate, what we need is we need this particular GoRouter instance, right? So here what we will do is we will get that particular ref. So let's go on to the instance, and I'll just say final, and we will require the reference over here as a ref object, and then I'll just get that one, this underscore the this dot underscore the ref that we need, right? So here we can just pass in that ref over here. So we got that ref. Let's go down over here, and here we will check that one. So we can navigate from here instead of using the navigator that push. I can just navigate from here. Let's get the from here, and if the link is not equals to the null over here, right? So if the data or the link is not equals to null, or I guess it should be the one, I'm not sure. Let's try this one. So if it is not null, then we will go to the ref that we have, underscore the ref, dot, we have the read, we can read the GoRouter provider that we have, right? So GoRouter provider dot, then we can push to the we can just go, right? So we can just go to this particular location over here. So this can be this particular link, so I can just get it over here and just pass in that link from our whatever we are getting. So I guess we should have a try catch over here. So if the link is not exist, so if it doesn't exist, it may get error over here. So why, I will just get it over here and paste it over here for now, and let's try to like this, and it should be able to navigate. So what I will do is I'll try to go back over here and create a new one. Let's duplicate this one. Let us duplicate this and let us try to send a new one with let's send this one as a 7, and let's send this one as 7, and then the 7 next, and the target to this application, and I'll set it now, next, and here we have to set that link. So our link is the custom data that we want to set, and then we want to send this one to inside our application to this particular screen. So this is a product detail, right? So if we go to the where is that a route, so if we go to the GoRouter and we want to go to this particular detail over here, so that should be from the here and go inside this particular detail. And if you see on the home screen, or if you see to the, let's go to the feature and go to the home, and in the home, when we click on that particular button, we need to go to this product detail page, right? So just copy this one, right? And then we need to get that link from here. We need to go inside this, and then you can also pass in some parameter, but currently we are not accepting any of the parameter over here. If you take a look on the GoRouter provider, we are not taking any of the parameter over here. So later we'll see maybe on the deep linking side for that one. For now, let's just do this way and just click on the publish, and let us wait for this application to come up. And I guess I'll just restart my application, and let's wait for it to come up, that particular notification. So when we click on that one, actually it should send us to that particular screen. So I'll put the application on the background. I'm setting it to the background because if you go to here, let me close all of this. This is we have implemented on our push notification side. So this, okay, so we are not calling this function from anywhere, so I need to actually initialize this one. So let's go and initialize it over here. I make it as a private, so let's make this one as a private function, so we call it O from here, and let me rebuild this one. So this is the Firebase notification that we are actually doing it, and you can see it's a null type over here. Null is not a subtype of string, so actually you receive a message, but you can see that data, and in the data you don't have any messaging that you are receiving, so that way it's giving us an error. But I guess we have sent up the information. So let me see why the map of this particular data is being null. So I get a test information. This is a 4, but we are not sending the 4. I guess this is not the message. So over here, I guess, okay, let's restart the application, and let us wait for this one. We send the 7, right? So we need to wait for this one. So I just received a 4, but we need to catch that actual error, so it should give us a null error, so we need to catch that error too over here. So I guess once we are waiting for it, I will just go and add that condition. If this particular message, that link that we have, it's not equals to the null, then only we will go inside this and get the information and navigate, right? So just paste it over here. So I guess that should not crash our application. So let me restart the application one more time and just wait for the notification to receive. And we receive a notification over here. You can see that we got it. Let's click on this one and it sends us to this particular product details. So which means that this particular concept is currently working fine, and then we need to do the same concept on our local notification. So what you can do is you can just go and duplicate the same concept, this one, and what we'll do is we will just set it this one as a 8 over here, and also let's change this one to the 8 and also this one to be 8, and let's click on next and target, and let's now next, and then we will just go and click next, and so just click on the link and preview it. So once that is ready, let's go back over here, and what we will do is we'll copy this functionality from here, and let's go back to our local. So now once we receive that notification, once the app is on the foreground, what we want to do is we want to go over there, right? So that is the concept over there. So let's go over here and let's create that functionality over here, and we will just import all of this information, and we need the ref. So let's go on to the top over here and let's final, and I need a ref object that is from the Riverpod and underscore the ref. And once we have this ref, so let's say this dot the ref, and we need to provide it, so we can provide it just a ref from here. And now using that ref we can access that provider. So let's import that particular provider. So now we have a handle message, and we need to call this particular message from our the local notification. So I guess it is the one that did receive notification response. I guess this is the one. Previously it was the on notification selected, but now I cannot find that particular notification selected functionality anymore. So I guess it should be the one over here, and let's just try this section. So I will just call the handle message, and it is the notification response. So I guess we can just pass in over here, and but this one requires a remote message. So let's try to fix this issue over here. Let's go up and let's see what we are receiving here. So let's go on to this one, and on this initialize setup we are receiving the notification response. So notification response we are receiving. So let's go and see what is this notification response, and let's pass in over here, and this is the type of the notification response. So let's see what is inside. So we get a okay, so it gets a payload over here. So we actually need this payload. We are not interested in ID, action ID, so all of those stuff. So what I can do is over here I can just set it as a type is of the string and call this one as a payload over here, payload, payload. So let's go on to the top over here. From here with this details I have the option to pass in the payload over here. So payload is a type of the string, right? So I can just pass that payload, and this payload will contain that particular data that we are sending from the push notification. So here what we will do is I'll create a map of the let's create a final variable of the map of the type will be of the string and then the dynamic type, and let's call this one as our data, and let's get this one from the JSON JSON decode that source, particularly this one. So it may contain a JSON data which is of the okay, maybe null, so I'll just set it as empty if it is null. So we are just trying to decode this payload because it is a type of the string, but we need to decode it to JSON type to get it as a map. So once we have this map of the data type, so I can actually check whether this data has a link or not. So if it has a link, then I will get that link and I'll use the same concept over here. So I guess this should work, and let's go on to the top. What is the error? So let me remove this functionality from here, and let's go back over here and let's try to push this one, and let's wait for that one to complete. And once that is done, what we can do is let's try to run our application, and let's try to check that one. So on deep receive notification, so I'll just put a breakpoint over here, and once I click that notification, I need to check whether I can receive that notification or the click event over here. And if you are wondering from where this payload is coming, it should be here. So when we are showing the notification, we are also passing in the payload over here. So this is the payload that we are actually passing in. So this is the payload that is coming from our Firebase push notification over here. So we are also passing the encoded JSON encoded data as the our payload over here. So I guess that should work, and because they have changed some concept over here with the previous one. Previous one was the on click listener or select listener. We had that functionality. So let's wait for this one to complete. So here we received the notification, and we are currently on the home, and let us try to click on this one. And yeah, we are over here. We got the link and the detail. It was the correct one. So they have changed this particular, and I guess that is the one. So let's try to run it, and yeah, we are over here. So it's working perfectly fine. So I guess we have completed the setup, and it was quite a long lecture. I guess around 2 hours it should be. So we have successfully implemented the notification on the Android side, but we still are lacking the setup on the iOS side. So all of this functionality is currently working, so which means that now you can receive a notification, image notification, and also you can have some deep links, right? And that is perfectly working fine. And the next step would be to work with the iOS side, and you can still test some of the logic and the functionality from here. And then you will see if you have any error. You can just let me know. It was a quite long lecture. Maybe I missed some of the concept over here, and maybe you didn't understand some of the concept over here clearly, since it was a quite long and the complex setup that we need to do over here. So if you have some confusion over here, make sure to reach to me and just say that you have some error or the issue over here. But I guess it should be fine. I tried to explain each and every bit of the concept and everything that we need to set up the push notification over here. And let's meet up in the next lecture, and till then, have a great day.